Hello, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jeffrey Gillan. I'm a research data scientist here at the University of Arizona, and you have tuned into NextGen Geospatial, which is my data science workshop here at U of A. We're coming to you from the Science and Engineering Library on the campus of University of Arizona. And sorry about the hiatus last week. We were supposed to cover this topic last week, but I was sick, so I'm back this week to pick up where we left off. So this week we're going to talk about Google Earth Engine. And so this is a pretty popular topic, and it's been a very popular platform for a number of years in geospatial science. Today is just going to be like a pure introduction. Okay, so it's just going to be very simple. What is Earth Engine? What are its capabilities? How do you get access to it? How do you basically get rolling with it? So we won't really go any further than that. It's just a pure introduction to help you guys just kind of get started and get a little bit more comfortable when saying to yourself, yeah, that looks like a really useful tool. Let me try to start using that. So let me share my screen. Okay. All right, so here we are on the homepage of our course content, NextGen Geospatial. And let's go down to the schedule. All right, so yeah, the schedule has been kind of been rearranged a little bit the last few weeks, and might continue to do so as as my schedule has been kind of thrown into whack a little bit. But for today, March 26, 2024, we're going to do Earth Engine. So let's click on that and go into today's content. So let me just throw this into the chat here. All right, so threw it into the chat, today's content. So what is Google Earth Engine? Okay, so it's created by a company called Google. You might have heard of them. I think this started in 2015 or 2016, so it's been a while. It's been a slow progression over the years, but man, it's turned into a juggernaut. So it is probably the cloud-based platform for geospatial analysis on the web. Everything occurs on the cloud in your web browser. You don't need to do anything locally. I mean, you tap into it, of course, with your laptop or your desktop computer, but everything is being handled by Google Cloud infrastructure. All the data is online unless you want to you can upload your own data, but for the most part, they have a huge data catalog that's online. All of the tools are just online. You do everything through the browser. You have access to a huge amount of compute, a huge amount of different data sets, including imagery, vector data sets. I mean, and almost anything you can think of in terms of geospatial analysis, you can probably do within Earth Engine. Yeah, it's hard to overstate. In the last sentence here, I say it's a truly groundbreaking platform that allows planetary scale data analysis and facilitates collaboration in geospatial analysis in ways that didn't really exist before. And so when I say planetary, I really mean it, like the whole globe. With a few lines of code and a few clicks, you can analyze imagery across the entire globe. It takes you 5 seconds. If you would have done this yourself, it would have taken you months. So the orders of magnitude efficiency that Google has provided for it is just astonishing. And it's actually pretty easy to use. It is not necessarily a point and click graphical user interface. I'll show you the interface here in a little bit. For the most part, everything is done using JavaScript. Yeah, that is a coding language, and yeah, that can be a little scary at first, but there's tons of examples of how to do things. There's a huge user community. Like, it's not that hard to get rolling with it. Okay. So first things first is, how do you get access to Earth Engine? So Earth Engine is free for anyone with a Google account to use. The important caveat is that if you're trying to access it through a University of Arizona or another university account, it's not likely to work. All right. The reason is that your Earth Engine projects or your Earth Engine account is tied to Google Cloud projects. So Google Cloud is using Google's infrastructure, and our IT department has disabled that feature. So if you want to use Google Earth Engine, you're probably gonna have to use your own personal account, jgillan@gmail.com or whatever. So just like a non-university Google account. But of course, Google accounts are free to obtain. So again, it's all free. But you cannot probably not use your university account. The one thing, the one way you can use university account is if it's a legacy. Like I started using Earth Engine with my university account like 6 years ago, and that's still alive. So I can still go back to it and it still has my university, login credentials, and that still works. But that's simply because of a legacy and they've grandfathered me in, so to speak. So if you're new to Earth Engine, you're gonna have to use your own personal email account from Google. So, with our limited time, I'm not going to go through the exact setup, but to register, you can go to this link here. I can just open it real quick. Link a new tab. So from this link, this is where you would start to register a Google Cloud project. And you want to specify that it is a non-commercial account. And so if you're doing this for research, academia, kind of purposes, it should be free. So all you have to do is kind of follow the prompts. And it shouldn't be that difficult to figure out, get yourself an Earth Engine account that's free to use. If you are a company and doing this commercially, then of course things change. You're probably gonna have to pay per usage in your Google Cloud project. So there's a nice blog here if you're interested in learning a little bit more about this, personal versus university account issue. There's a whole blog by a colleague of mine named Sam Apriya Roy, who keeps up to date with everything going on with Earth Engine, and he wrote a nice blog trying to explain why. So it gives a bit more details than I am mentioning here. Okay, so that's how we can get access. Use your own personal Google email account. Okay, so data catalogs. Earth Engine has a giant data catalog. They claim to have over 70 petabytes of data that you can just use free. It's public. They said there's like 800 plus curated geospatial data sets, satellite imagery going back 40 years, just all kinds of things. So let's look at some of it.
Like, is there any documentation for how, if say you're going to do analysis and publish it, how you would credit Google Earth Engine specifically?
I'm sure there is some documentation on how to cite Earth Engine in your analysis. I don't know what it is exactly. Yeah, but I'm sure if you look in their documentation, I'm sure there's like a little, little whatever citation that they would like for you to use. I don't know what that is at the exact moment, but I'm sure it exists. Okay, so on the screen, we have the Earth Engine data catalog, and this just gives us some nice pictures and shows us, essentially what we can expect to find within the Earth Engine catalog. Gosh, almost any kind of geospatial data you can imagine, they've got it, and it's super easy to just bring it into your environment and use it. They're showing surface temperature, climate, atmosphere, weather, all kinds of imagery from Landsat to Sentinel to MODIS. And they even have NAPE, National Agricultural Imagery Program. Of course, they have all the terrain, all the like digital elevation model, the stuff, land cover, cropland. Let's just look at one of these here. Let's look at Sentinel data just to see.
Hi, Jeff.
Hey.
It's good that you're feeling better. I have a question. Do they have LiDAR data too?
Do they have LiDAR data?
Yeah. What if I want to create a canopy height map?
Okay, I would have to see, would have to look. So after today, I bet we could browse through and see if they have LiDAR data. I'm not sure exactly. That would just take you could do a search here. Let's do it. LiDAR. Datasets tagged LiDAR and Earth Engine. England, 1 meter composite DTM. Looks like I got some stuff. I don't know what all it is. Oh yeah, so Samapriya, which we'll look at his catalog in a second. You're saying that he's got some LiDAR in his catalog. Okay. Anyway, let's go back to just some data set here. So Sentinel-2 multispectral instrument. So that's a satellite that's orbiting from European Space Agency. It's kind of like the European version of Landsat, sort of in a way. And let's look at surface reflectance. So we're just drilling down into the data sets here. So once you get to a specific data set, then it's providing some information that's very useful to you. So for instance, this is the code snippet you would use to bring that data into your environment. And we're gonna show you how to do this in a minute. Okay, we've got description of Sentinel. And down here, it actually is giving us some code to do, probably just bring it in and visualize it is generally what this code is. And so I could just copy and paste it, or I could just open it directly into Earth Engine. We'll do both here in a little bit. Okay, so let's keep going on the theme of data. So there's the official Earth Engine data catalog, which we just looked at, and there's a lot to browse through. Okay, and then parallel to that is the awesome Google Earth Engine community data catalog, which is created and curated by my colleague, Samapriya Roy. And let's open that one there. And so this data catalog is equally gigantic. So this is actually tons and tons of data that users from all over the world have uploaded to Earth Engine, but they've shared it all in a public way. And so Samapriya has brought it all together. And you can just kind of look through here and see everything he's doing. Soil properties. Okay, Ravindra, the one that you were interested in was the Polaris 30-meter probabilistic soil.
Yeah.
Which is this thing right here. Looks like there's a lot of different layers with it. Sand, silt, clay, bulk density, and then things that I don't really understand about soil. And so after you look at the description down here at the bottom, here's the actual code that you can bring it into Earth Engine. And then there's actually some sample code, I think, to bring it in and visualize it. So we'll do that here in a second. Let's just keep going with the basic intro. Yeah, what's your question?
Data sets that we see,
Mhm.
do they only cover like really certain ranges?
It's going to vary totally. You'd have to read into them, each one specifically to know like what the extent is, what the time range is. They're going to vary tremendously.
And is there just like a spatial filter where if you were interested in just a specific region, then you could filter for like the data sets that all include like.
That's a really good question. That sounds like a really good feature to have. I don't know. I don't currently know where that feature is. It's possible. I wouldn't call myself an Earth Engine expert. Yeah, kind of like stat catalogs where you could be like, show me the time and space here to then show me all the data that's within it. I don't know exactly.
Just a collection of data sets brought by the different collaborators. So I think there's a meta index.
I'm sure something like that is possible. You would think. I'm sure like that would be such an obvious logical thing to do. So, but I don't exactly know how to do it. But yeah, that's worth exploring this. So thank you. Okay, so I showed you the two biggest data catalogs. So within those, you're gonna find lots of stuff, lots and lots of stuff. If you want to upload your own data, be it raster, imagery, vector, whatever, it has to be within a few, a specified recognized geospatial format, you can do that. And so Google is going to allow you to upload 250 gigabytes of free storage for your own stuff, which works for most people. It was limiting to me for uploading lots and lots of drone imagery. I ran out of space. I needed about a terabyte. But for a lot of people, 250 gigs will do the job. Okay, so the user interfaces, like the most popular, the best way to interact with it is called the JavaScript code editor. So the code actually is using JavaScript. Okay, and we will get in there in just a second. So that's the kind of the number one way to interact with it is you open this web-based integrated development environment and interact with it that way. And you execute commands with JavaScript. You can also interact with it through a few different other ways. You can use Python. If you are like, hardcore Python and that's what I want to use, you can do that as well. And so you can download a Earth Engine Python library and do it from your local machine, or you can get onto Google Colab and run a Jupyter notebook like we've done a bunch of times in this class. So any of those methods allows you to tap into Earth Engine and to use all of its tools and access all of its data and all that stuff. So if you are interested in Python, this link here, this GitHub repo's got dozens, maybe a couple hundred Jupyter Notebook examples of using Earth Engine. So super, super useful. Yep, is there a question? Is there one in the chat?
I was wondering if you're using Python via the API on your own computer, is it still running everything on Google Earth Engine? And you're
Yeah.
just like controlling it from your computer?
Right. It would still, yeah, the compute is still occurring on Earth Engine. You're just running the code from your machine. But you
Okay.
are sending the code over to Google's infrastructure and it's doing it there. Yeah, you're not actually processing on your local compute resources.
Thanks.
Okay, yeah, you're welcome. Okay, well, let's just get into the editor, start looking at it. Okay, so once you have registered for an account, you can just go to code.earthengine.google.com. And here we are. So this is the JavaScript code editor. This is the integrated development environment, or the IDE, as we call it. And at first it seems kind of weird, kind of foreign, if you're trying to compare it to programs like ArcGIS or NV or other kind of remote sensing things. This is a lot different. We don't have menus where we can drop down and click tools to use. It doesn't work like that. Everything is script based. Okay, so let's just do a quick kind of tour through here. It's going to go, we're going to go very shallow, not too deep on anything, just kind of give you a basic idea of how it works. So over here, we have the scripts tab. Okay, and so everything in here is some script that I wrote in JavaScript to do something, some kind of geospatial analysis. So these are mine, users/J Gillan. Those are all the ones that I have done in the past. But the beauty of Earth Engine, you can just share, code with other people. And so over here where it says reader, that means Sam Apriya has shared his scripts with me and I can look at them and run them. So it's a really collaborative thing here. So let's try some here. So Sam Apriya used to work for Planet, and he's got some scripts here of looking at Planet. And so this is just this is what a typical script looks like. This is JavaScript. The top here are just bringing in the the assets, like the imagery and stuff like that, like the actual like files we're going to use. And then the rest of this is all instructions on what to do. And so this whole code is just saying, bring in some planet imagery and we're going to visualize it. And so once your script is loaded in here, we would hit run. And let's just see what happens. Okay, so this is just showing, looks like a few different types of planet images in Utah. I'm not sure what all these different layers are. Let's see, Sentinel, Landsat, Planet. So yeah, it looks like we're displaying Landsat, Sentinel, and Planet scope imagery all in the same area of interest. If I look here, this layers, so that shows me I have 4 different layers that I can toggle on and off. It's kind of cool. Okay, so that's all that script does. It just simply brings in some data and then we're displaying it. That's it. Let's do something else here. Let's do this thing here called monthly composite. What is this one going to do? Not really sure. Let's just hit run. See what happens. Okay, yeah, for the same area, I think it's just taking imagery over the month of April and just like combining it into one image. Yep, April mosaic. Okay, so that's all that one did. Okay, so so besides the scripts that are mine, Jay Gillan, those are the ones that I've created. These ones from Sam Apri have been shared with me. There's also examples here, and examples are everyone, I think, just has access to them. And so this is Earth Engine saying, hey, here's all these things you can just check out to give you like an idea of how to use this JavaScript to do different things. For instance, if I wanted to do an NDVI or normalized difference vegetation index, I click on this script. So this script, what it will do, it will open this image, looks like a MODIS satellite image. All right, and then it's going to do an NDVI on it, and then it's going to display it. Let's hit run. Okay, that was quick. The interesting part about it is it's for the entire globe. Oh, we got some cloud cover. Let's keep zooming out. Yeah, so that's an example of a few lines of code, a click of the button, and now we have NDVI for the entire globe from that date. Looks like March 9th, 2012. Yeah, if you're going to do that on your own, and, download all that imagery, normalize it all, like that is not realistic. But in Earth Engine, it's just there ready to go. And you're just like, I would like that, please. Click, and then there it is. So you're starting to think about kind of the planetary power of what you can do. Let's see what else here.
Really fast. Is this because it's JavaScript or something about it being Google Earth Engine?
Probably it's, I don't know all the bells and whistles behind it, but it has a lot of compute. It's using Google Cloud's infrastructure. So it has a whole lot of computers working on the same problem. And my guess is they have a lot of these things cached. In other words, once someone has done the analysis, it's like sitting there ready to go. And so it's not doing the analysis necessarily. That's why this was so quick. Yeah, like unbelievably. Yeah. So my guess is this MODIS global NDVI was already done and cached, and then just like when I clicked it, it just, displayed it. Yep. What's Ravindra?
Jeff, I'm just wondering if you plan to explain the script to like different code sections.
No, we're not going to go into the actual coding.
Oh, okay.
When it comes to, how do you learn to use the JavaScript? The answer is you copy, you beg, borrow, and steal, and you just find something that someone else has done, try to change it a little bit to meet your own purposes. There is, within these examples, and there's some other help documentation I can provide, or like a great way to get started. There are so many resources, educational resources on Earth Engine, and how to use JavaScript and such. I can't sit down and write JavaScript. Like, I don't have that ability, but it doesn't matter. So I wouldn't focus on it too much. It's more like find something. And if you really can't find anything and you got to start from scratch, your best bet is to start with ChatGPT or Gemini. Both of those LLMs can go a long ways to get you started with almost anything. So this day and age, what's more important is you being able to articulate what you want to accomplish. You start with what is your mission, and from there you can start to figure out the nuts and bolts and the exact syntax around how to write this JavaScript. Don't kill yourself feeling like I need to learn JavaScript first before I can use this tool. Like, don't do that.
Jeff,
Start the other way around.
Jeff, can you please explain it? What do you mean by use chat? You could use ChatGPT for this purpose. Can you explain it? What do you mean by that?
Have you ever heard of ChatGPT?
Yes, I did. The free
Okay.
version.
Okay, so ChatGPT and Google's AI chatbot Gemini are incredibly good at writing code. And I just tested this yesterday. I can do a little example of this later on in the session just to show you how to do it. But you can just simply ask it what kind of code you would like to see, and it will generate it for you.
I would
Yeah,
really love if you could give an example at the end.
I will. I will
Thank
give you an example. Okay, so we're still looking over examples of JavaScript things to kind of give you an idea of how to, what kind of things you can do, how to do them. Okay, in charts, let's click on elevation histogram. And we have a little bit of code here. What this code is going to do, it's going to pull out the digital elevation model of the entire state of Colorado and then create this chart over here, a histogram of the most common, elevations within the state. I mean, that's not a very interesting chart, but you get the idea is that it's not just imagery analysis or whatever. You can create charts, you can create graphs, you can create all kinds of visualizations also in Earth Engine. What else? Let's see. Elevation profile. That's another script here. Let's run that script. And so it's looks like we have Mount Rainier in Washington. And what is it doing? It's just looking at data points from like the base all the way to the top of the mountain and then plotting that over here on a little chart. So these are just examples of, kind of things you can do. And so you can grab some of the ideas and incorporate it into your own personal scripts. Yeah, do you have a question?
You could do a reverse engineering, go copying and pasting the code into ChatGPT or Gemini and ask him to explain the code. So
Yeah,
that's
okay.
Mhm.
That's a good point. So Carlos was talking about how to use the chat bots. I could take this code directly, plug it into ChatGPT or Gemini, and it would do a very good job of going line by line and explaining in plain English what it's doing. So my little secret for this entire course, the fact that I've had a Jupyter notebook and Python for almost every lesson, I would say 2/3 of that I would attribute to ChatGPT. It is the most useful tool for writing code ever invented so far. I mean, it's hard to overstate how useful it is. Ravendra, got something else?
Yeah. There are two versions of ChatGPT. One that's free. The other is you have to pay 20 per month. Which one do you use?
I use the one that I pay for.
Okay.
It's better. You know, the one that's free is not bad, but like most things in life, you want things that are good, they cost.
Claude is free.
Claude 3 is free. Okay. And I think Gemini, I'm sure you can get Gemini at least for free, at least like a standard model of it, probably for free. Yeah. So with all the AI out there now, you shouldn't have to pay a subscription to get help writing code. Okay, let's keep rolling here. So besides all these code examples, all of the data sets are here too. So all the data sets that we saw in the catalog, all of those are listed right here also. And so you can just easily bring them in. So let's see here. Let's find USGS, which is the US Geological Survey. And let's clear my script here. Clear script. If I click on that, okay, so this is the script to bring in this 10 meter, I think it's a digital elevation model. Let's run it. Boom. And let's see, is it nationwide? Yep, indeed it is. Okay, so yeah, you can find data in the website, or you can find it just directly here in Earth Engine. It's all right here, and every one of these data files has like little bits of code to tell you how to bring it in to your environment, and then from there you can do anything you want with it. You know, anything at all. Demos. So demos is, I think, even more just code examples, classification. Okay. So this demonstration uses hand-located points to train a classifier. So you can do, you can choose training and testing data within Earth Engine itself using these tools here. So if you're trying to do like a machine learning workflow, you can do, I think, almost all of it in here. If you are trying to use PyTorch or TensorFlow, I think you need to do the actual training outside of Earth Engine and then bring the model in. You know, don't exactly quote me on that. I've never used deep learning in Earth Engine. But I think I read that it makes sense to actually do the training outside and then bring it in. But for sure, you can do all kinds of, deploy all kinds of machine learning models in Earth Engine. Okay, let's move on to other aspects of this this platform here. So we looked at the scripts, the docs. That's just documentation. All of these are tools. These are all like the geospatial, tools that can do different things. And so it's just kind of a reference for, what everything does. I don't necessarily use this too much, but if you want to drill down and find really specific tools to do things and find out what they're called, that's what you use the docs for. Assets. Assets is the geospatial data that you have uploaded yourself. So if you have, your 250 gigabytes of storage for your own personal data, that's what assets is. And so all of this stuff are all drone imagery data sets that I have uploaded. I did this back in 2019. Yeah, I collect a lot of drone imagery and stuffed a lot of it into Earth Engine.
Public or it's just?
It's public if you share it to make it public. By default, it is not. By default, no one can find your data. It's hidden, but you can share it with any user. I'll show you here. So you hover next to any asset. Here's an ortho. I can just hit the share button, and then I can share it with anyone, anyone's email address. And I wonder if there's like just like a share with anyone publicly. I'm not exactly sure how to do that. Anyone can read. Yeah, there's that there. Yeah, so by default, the data, no one can find it but you can share it with anyone you want. And they can have reading permission, writing permission, or ownership permission. So let's clear this script here. I just want to bring in something. Okay, so here is a drone orthomosaic. I'll just visualize it here. Where is it? Here it is. Okay, so here's a drone imagery that I collected back in 2019, the Santa Rita Experimental Range. I think is that me under the mesquite tree, hiding from the sun? Okay. Okay, so we just talked about sharing, how you can share your imagery asset or your geospatial assets with anyone, any other users. Then there's the get link here. And so this is about sharing your code. And so like whatever is written here in your, your script window here, you can just hit get link, and then you can just, Slack your friend the link or email your friend that link, and then boom, they have your script. And so it's super easy to share data and code with colleagues on Earth Engine. It is very, very simple to do. What else? Search bar. So up here we have a search bar. And so within that, we can search places. And that's just like geographic places like Tucson. This is basically the Google Maps API. But then you can also search for data sets, USGS, DEM. Yeah. So it's showing me raster data and table data. So yeah, that's what that search engine's for, is geography and data sets that are just in Earth Engine. Let's see. Over here, we have something called Inspector. An Inspector is just like a pointing tool. So if I have, where's my drone imagery? Inspector is just something you can click on. You can get information about what that pixel is, or that's all that is, the inspector. You're just trying to identify, I guess that's the word, identify what is here on the screen. So apparently if I click here, it's telling me the values for the red, green, and blue bands. It's saying it's a 3-band image. Yeah, that's probably true. Okay. What other kind of properties they have in here? Not important. Okay, yeah, it's telling me those bands are unsigned 8-bit integers with I don't know, 4326. I can't remember which coordinate. That's probably just a WGS 84 coordinate system. Okay, so another one to check out. It's 2:40. I've got a little bit of time. Another very cool thing about Earth Engine is making web apps. So we go back to our course content here. So Earth Engine web apps. So if you do a really cool analysis, you can then build a web app with that same JavaScript and then make a website out of it and share it really with anybody. So let me go to an example, one that I made. Okay, so I did this analysis in Earth Engine, and then we made ourselves a little web app. And so this is a public URL, so anyone in the world can go to the URL and they end up here, this Earth Engine app. And over here on the right, it tells you like what this is. So this is the Santa Rita Experimental Range Drone Data Explorer from 2019. And it's just a little website where people can scroll around and see all the drone imagery that I collected back in 2019. And let's see here. Let's take off some of these layers. So the fact that I can display all of these orthomosaics and zoom into them with amazing speed is still amazing to me. You know, doing this on your own desktop computer, it would not work this well. So let's look at some of the layers here. So what you're looking at is the red, green, and blue. It's just like, you know, the true color drone imagery. And we can look at something else. Let's look at the vegetation height. And we have the legend over here telling you. So red means a taller tree. So those are probably mesquite trees. And blue is probably grass or something. So this is all done with drone and photogrammetry. That's how we're able to get the 3-dimensional height of all the trees down at Santa Rita. What else? I did a classification. So I did a random forest machine learning algorithm to identify 4 types of cover: herbaceous, woody vegetation, bare ground, and shadow. And so I did this entire workflow to do this classification in Earth Engine. And I thought it was cool what I had created. So I created this little app here, and then I can just share that URL with anybody. Yeah, and it's kind of slick, isn't it? So this link here, interactive web apps. I think this is going to show you, yeah, it's going to take you to a page where you can see a bunch of other examples of web apps that have been created. It's really kind of fun to do. And how you do that, let's see, where am I? Oh, here. Yeah, so there's a button here called apps. And within here, you know, I'm not going to click through it, but yeah, once you have your JavaScript written to make your website, then you can just launch it and host it, I think, on Google Cloud. That probably has a cost. If you're actually hosting a website, I think it probably costs something. Yeah, so those are web apps. So you can do some really amazing, you know, global geospatial analysis or local geospatial analysis, make a handy dandy website where anyone can come and check out what you've done. Let's see, let's go back to the Polaris. So Ravindra, so this was the soil stuff you're interested in. And so if I'm interested in this data, I can just click here, the sample code, and I think this will just launch a new version, a new instance of the code editor. Yep, it did. And so I would just hit run. Let's wait a minute. Yep, okay, so all the data layers from Polaris are now loading in Earth Engine. And we can look right here and see all the different ones there are. We can, you know, we can toggle them on and off. So this one, we're looking at clay mean 0 to 5. Not sure what that means exactly, but it looks like we're looking at clay content across the entire United States. Looks like there's some heavy clays down in the Mississippi Valley. And we can use our inspector here to figure out what does that mean? Click on it, and then we get some values. Clay mean. Band 1, 68.233. And I don't know what that means exactly, but I'm sure if you looked at the documentation, you could probably figure it out. Yeah, so that's how you can bring data in. You can bring data in, you know, from my script over here, my script tab. All that data is here, or you can do it through, you know, through the websites. Like, gosh, I've lost it. Yeah, through one of these websites, either the official Earth Engine catalog or Sam Apria's awesome Earth Engine catalog. Yeah,
So,
he's done a really good job with it.
Jeff, thank you for sharing this. So I also clicked on that run sample code, and it showed different raster layers or defaults for the countable use. But if I'm interested in a simple water set, how do you get data for just that water set?
Oh, for just a specific, okay, instead of the entire thing.
Yeah.
That's something you'd probably have to clip. So maybe you start with that big area, and then you could draw yourself a polygon. Here we have a polygon feature. I could draw a polygon, and then I'm sure there's probably, a few lines of code to clip the soil product to your area of interest. I don't know what that code is. Again, it probably wouldn't be that hard to figure out. I would
Okay.
start with ChatGPT.
Okay.
Let's do that. Let's do that.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah. So that I think is pretty much what I wanted to cover with Earth Engine, is that it is a super powerful tool, pretty easy to use. I mean, there is some learning curve in trying to figure out how the scripting works and stuff, but man, it is worth looking into if especially if your data is already in Earth Engine. So look through the data catalogs. If the data you want to use is already there, well, fantastic. So I highly recommend checking out Earth Engine. It's probably the best cloud computing geospatial tool out there. Let's try some LLM in here. Okay, so this is the paid account for ChatGPT, which uses GPT-4. All right, so it's just about asking it what we are interested in. I am using Google Earth Engine. I would like to clip out a area of interest from a raster data set. Could you please suggest a workflow and some JavaScript code to accomplish this? Okay, it's telling us to use the clip. There's a clip function.
Oh my God.
Yes. Oh my God. Um, Not always, but when it comes to computing things, writing code, you know instantly if it's going to work or not. You run it. Oh, it doesn't work. Okay, well then. But yeah, there's a lot of times where it gets close, but it's not quite right, and you just keep asking it. You just keep prompting it, like, "Hey, you were close, but like this one set, like literally, just like have a conversation. It's you didn't quite get it right. Can you make that section better?" Or it's like the more specific you can get, the better. Have a really detailed conversation about what you're trying to accomplish, and then it is amazing what you can get it to create.
Sorry to ask you this question, but in order to this, but can you, if I have some code in suppose in Fortran and I want to convert into suppose R or MATLAB, can I use it ChatGPT to do that?
Carlos might have a better answer. Fortran to MATLAB.
Yeah.
I don't know specifically about those two languages, but for sure you can convert code from one language to another. I've certainly done that. But
Yeah,
Fortran, I have no experience with it.
piece by piece. I mean, subroutines by subroutines or sections by sections, not the whole code.
Oh, okay.
But yeah,
What if a script is-
basically, if you're in the sciences, you're doing any kind of data work, if you're not using chatbots, you are behind already. Like start using them now because they are so useful. They will increase your productivity tenfold, especially when you're doing technical computing things around writing code or how to do command prompt stuff or any kind of technical understanding around computing. It's just really the most important tool I have.
Oh. Thank you for the comment. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. So that was Earth Engine. And yeah, we have about 8 minutes left. Does anybody have any questions? That was all I was going to cover for today. So thanks for listening.
I do have one more question. Yeah.
Sure.
So I see like you have a number of scripts on the left-hand side. So how long these scripts are going to stay there, or is somebody going to delete them or erase them?
No, so the code editor, let me share my screen again. So these are tied to your user account. So they're not going anywhere. If Sam Apriya decided he would like to unshare his script from me, then he could, I suppose. But this menu that I'm looking at is tailored to me, through my user account. So these aren't going to change unless I change them. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I remember you mentioning like in Google Colab, they delete all data sets within few days. So I just wondering if
Okay.
Just the dataset, not the code.
Okay, yeah. So no, that does not happen in Google Earth Engine.
oh, okay.
Google, it's not temporary. So when you're using Colab, yes, that is a temporary environment. In Earth Engine, it persists. Like you have an account, it's going to be there tomorrow. It's going to be there next week, next month, next year. They're not deleting any of your stuff. So it is there. That's a good question, though. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, everyone. We'll take about 5 minutes for Carlos to set up. And I think we're going to have Brenda teaching something. So very excited about that. So thank you all very much for attending.